Hi, everybody. It's your old pal Chuck, and I am excited to bring to you from the Transformers Generations 30th Anniversary line, Thrilling 30, whatever you want to look at it. Mega Deluxe Class Megatron, IDW Megatron. Um, this is his, newer but not recent incarnation where he was rebuilt into a stealth bomber. It looks very cool as a stealth bomber. Um, I'm not really familiar with its comic origins. The comic book that comes with it does explain quite well him getting used to the body while he's beating the crap out of Starscream, who failed miserably as leader of the Decepticons. Other than that, it's predominantly black. You have some silver accents. Coming underneath, you have this retractable landing gear, and you see his head and a bunch of purple parts. But I have to say, it's a very streamlined flying wing, not a lot of robot kibble. So I'm sure it's something people would like. So let's pause here and get into the transformation. Okay, transformation really isn't that difficult once you've done it a few times. I also have to mention that in transforming the figure, I will admit the plastic. I'm not going to say it feels cheap, but it has a unique texture to it, almost like the individual pieces themselves are hollow. I mean, there really are no hollow points on Megatron, as you'll see, but I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But first, what you want to do is remove the external wings. Good. Just take those, put them off to the side. We'll get to them in a little bit. Next, what you want to do is come in and detach these side panels from the main fuselage. Things don't peg together as tightly as you would like them to, so they'll come off very unpegged very nicely. Next, what you want to do, and this isn't mentioned in the instructions, nor in other video reviews I've seen, these little shoulder panels right here flip outward, and it does that to help position the arms while doing the transformation to get them out of the way. And it does help. So you just go ahead, do that, and then you bring the arms, what will be the arms, down. Next, you're going to move on to the main fuselage, and I'm going to turn it over just so you can see this better. You want to go ahead, unpeg what will be the legs from the main section of the body. Once both legs are detached, the little purple midsection will come down. That's all right. And then you're just going to rotate them down and then rotate them out and forward. And in doing so, you will bring out what will be the kneecap. Now, while you're doing this, you want this hip section sort of positioned down. Let me adjust the camera ever so slightly. It doesn't peg into place, and that's actually one of my problems. It would really help in both robot mode and vehicle mode if there was a fixed location that this hip piece can move into and peg. Next, what you want to do, and I'm going to just tilt the robot this way, go ahead, bring the feet down, and adjust the heels. Now, as has been mentioned, and it wasn't really mentioned in the instructions either, these outer side panels on the leg can fold inward, and it's only those, not both panels. And in doing so, you kind of close up the gap. Now, you do have to be careful to make sure you have the heels positioned properly, or else the legs won't close. Moving up to the torso, as I adjust the camera again, you're basically going to detach the front here, which will form like the shoulders and arms, and bring those down as far as you can go, and then proceed to rotate the chest section down. This very front piece will fold down as well, and everything should straighten it out. And this front silver piece has clips underneath, and that should, if you positioned everything properly, peg into Megatron's chest or gap, and then everything becomes very solid. The next step that you want to do is accordion up these side panels just enough so that they can hook into place. You can then go ahead and close the shoulder panels on the back of the arms. Again, like I said, they're not shown in the instructions, but they do help, especially when going from robot to vehicle. Fold out the fists and rotate the arms around to bring them forward. And you just want to make sure everything is basically copacetic with Megatron. You bring things up, straighten them out. And there you have, for better or for worse, Megatron in his robot mode. Now, remember those, I'm going to push him to the back a little. Remember those little side wing panels? Well, one of them has a peg on it. You're going to rotate that peg out. Then what you're going to do is there's a couple pegs on them. You're going to push it together, and then from using your thumb, grabbing this little textured groove, you're going to push back, and that will project these two, the wing tips out a little more, and that will become his fusion cannon. And this is basically how it looks and works in the comic. So here he is, all dolled up, Megatron. He goes from a very wide plane, well, not very wide, but a wide plane, to a very svelte and, I don't want to say short, but smaller robot mode. I mean, I had to adjust, how many times did I have to adjust the camera because it was so long before everything compacted down. But I really like that. That's really a genius of Transformers do. Making bigger to smaller and smaller to bigger, all by the way that parts extend and compress. Now, for articulation, he has a swivel head, but it's very hard for me to get in there. I think it's like on a ball joint, but it is very hard for me with my thick fingers to get in there. There is a ball joint here in the shoulder, swivel at the bicep, 90-degree bend. There is a little in and out wrist articulation, but that's for transformation. No waist articulation, ball jointed hips. You can get a 90-degree elbow bend, but you will have to open up these leg panels. And you do have some ankle articulation, but that's really limited by the panels, and it's really just for transformation. You can get some very nice, Megatron-esque poses out of it. Now, in terms of colors, you still have the predominantly black and silver from vehicle mode with some great purple and lavender accents. A nice Decepticon logo here on his chest. The Japanese version actually does it up. He comes in a 2-pack with Orion packs. All the panel lines are done in this great neon purple, which I think is fantastic and great to look at. So yeah, let's pause here, and I'll be back with my final thoughts. Over the years, there have been some rather unique looks to Megatron. And I'm not just saying for the movie line. In general, after his original G1 Walther design was unusable. Usually it's been tanks. A few times it's been jets, and this is one of them. I have to say, this is probably the most unique look I've seen to Megatron. Now, apparently in the comics, he's already left this body and has gone back to being some sort of tank, closer to his War Within appearance that gives him more of a classic G1 look. Between the two Megatrons we already have in this new Generations line, I think I do prefer the Legends figure a bit more, as it's more of a traditional looking Megatron, and the transformation isn't as fiddly. But by no means am I saying this is a bad figure. If you see him out, which he should be available now, go ahead, pick it up. Do note that I do believe Dreadwing, or Dreadwind, it's one of the two, is a repaint of this with a new head. That actually has a more interesting paint scheme. Plus, it's an homage to its Generation 2 version, but it's the same mold, just with a new head. So if you see that, I mean, it really depends on what you prefer in terms of colors and character. This is your old pal Chuck for Megatron. We'll see you next time.